This is the QuickBooks dashboard, and if you're opening it for the first time, it can feel like a lot. Menus on the left, graphs on the right, this big dashboard thing in the middle, and buttons everywhere. So before we start clicking on random things, let me give you a simple tour. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the QuickBooks dashboard and all the main pages inside of it so you can understand how everything fits together. Because QuickBooks, once you actually get some exposure to it, really isn't that complicated. It's just very meticulously structured. And if you understand this layout, everything else in QuickBooks usually becomes a lot more easier to find. By the way, what you're about to see here is actually pulled from a 2.5-hour QuickBooks course hosted here on YouTube that I recorded for you free of charge, where I walk through the entire bookkeeping system you might use through QuickBooks step by step. And I also use stories and specific examples so that you can actually learn, retain, and apply this knowledge. You can find a link to that video in the description box below. And by the way, if we haven't met before, my name is Andrew Bloom. I'm a PhD student in accounting, a QuickBooks Pro advisor, and I help small business owners with their bookkeeping. But before you can DIY your bookkeeping, you need to get to know your accounting software. So let's go take a look around. All right, so here we are. If you've used QuickBooks a long time ago or even a couple years ago, you're going to notice it looks a lot different. They're immediately throwing a lot of different tutorials and setups. I'm going to X out of all of these. When you first sign up, they are going to try to guide you along. Over here, we see a list of tasks that come with setting up the basics and setting, going over accounting, and basically a lot of things we're going to cover in this course, including some ongoing tasks, but we'll just X out of this for now. So we're just going to start from the dashboard. Here at the top is a new feature. It's a list of what used to be some tabs from the nav bar. You have accounting, expenses and pay bills, sales, customers, team, sales tax. These are all buttons that lead to different dashboards for these particular features in QuickBooks. So this is kind of like a quick jump to button to get to these pages. They're going to show you this business feed on the dashboard. Right now it's showing us the setup completion. Normally it'll also show you some information about your bank and your bank transactions. Basically listing out some other tasks to be taken care of to run your business. Down here we have some action buttons if you want to use them straight from the dashboard, such as creating an invoice or recording an expense. And it looks like you could select which ones you want there first. If you want to unstar it, you'll take it off. And if you wanted to add a new one, you just star it to put it on. There's also a couple widgets down here, such as a list of your bank accounts when you add them, profit and loss bar showing your income and expenses, as well as invoices, paid and unpaid. You can also add additional widgets. Let's see what some of them look like. Some suggestions are adding just expenses or just sales. You can also add mileage if that's something you track. So let's see what that looks like when we add them. You can customize to an extent what you want to see on your dashboard. But I'll be honest with you, as a bookkeeper myself, I am rarely on the dashboard. I'm usually in one of these pages most of the time, accounting. But moving forward, there is a suggestion for you box at the bottom. Looks like a little ad for their own checking account service. Going back to the top, you'll see at the top nav bar, you'll have the name of your business. You'll have a button that takes you right back to the dashboard. There's a search bar, which comes in very handy. I'll bring it up later too. Basically, your most recent action that you took, when you click the search bar, it'll come up here, but you can also use this to search for anything in QuickBooks, and it'll do its best to find it for you. You have a contact experts button, which is, again, just a reminder that they have their own team. You could reach out and pay for their services. The tasks button is right here. Again, we saw that earlier. Right now, they're wanting to have us do the setup tasks. That can be used as a reminder of things you need to do in your books. This button is integrations. You can add integrations. Let's say you're an online business and you run a lot of Shopify sales because you're in e-commerce. The quick connection to, or the quick settings to these integrations will come up here when under My Integrations. One thing Intuit is really great about is that because it's so ubiquitous and such a big business, they have a lot of different partnerships and integrations. They just took over MailChimp recently so that they can keep a more seamless connection across of different business software accounts. And I think they really are trying to make their product suite your all-in-one business software management tool. Okay, from there, you have notifications. This is kind of like if anything comes up, any problems, you'll get notified. This gear bar here is settings. Definitely remember that this is a good option to click if you need to access a certain page. Things like your lists, your account settings, your chart of accounts. This is one of the quickest ways to get to it. You can access some other tools here like budgeting and the audit log to see who has done what, and access your own profile settings as well, such as subscriptions and billing. And this button here is going to be your profile to manage your own account with Intuit. And then this button on the side here, this is their AI icon. If you want to ask help or you have a question, an accounting question, you can run it through the AI bot first before just searching on Google, for instance. And sometimes you can get a more directed answer that makes sense for QuickBooks. Okay, so going back to the dashboard, it looks like there's also a privacy button here. If you were to ever do what I'm doing and show people around QuickBooks, you can hide that financial info. There's also a customize button of the dashboard, and here it looks like you could do more of moving the widgets around, making them bigger, dependent on what kind of dashboard you want to see. And you can add and remove widgets with this button here. We'll save that as is. Okay, so now for this nav bar on the left, one of the most important buttons you're going to click in all of QuickBooks is going to be this create button. And basically, you're able to do almost everything from create. You can create an invoice, you can create an expense, a bill, a check. You can create a bank deposit, a transfer, a journal entry, or add new products and services, add a new customer, add a vendor. So a lot of things I'm going to be showing you in this course, you'll easily find through the create button up here. Now, another useful button is bookmarks. A couple bookmarks I'm going to recommend adding from the start. So we'll click the pencil to add from their list. You're going to definitely want bank transactions in your books, in the bookmarks bar, chart of accounts. Depending on what style of business you run, maybe if you're sending invoices a lot and you're a service-based business, you might want to have invoices there. Same thing with contractors. If you're in construction or even real estate, you might want to keep a list of contractors on the bookmarks bar. Reconcile is another one everyone should have. and I'd say standard reports as well. So these 4 are definitely useful. I use them all the time in my clients' books, especially bank transactions. If you're just going to have one on there, have bank transactions. And we'll go over how to use this later. Okay, so there's another home button here. It's the same as the Intuit button up here. There's this new AI feature called Feed. I'll be honest, I haven't used it extensively, but it does seem like, from what I've seen in my clients' books, they're usually just letting you know different transfers, different things going on in the books and in the bank, whether something's not connecting properly. So in a way, the business feed can be a little bit like the to-do list or the task list up there. But like I said, I really haven't gone into it much. So moving forward, next you have reports. Apart from needing to do your bookkeeping to make the IRS happy by giving accurate numbers, it's also important to do bookkeeping so that you can have accurate numbers and have financial information about your business. And the best way to glean from all this transactional data is to run reports. We are going to definitely go over how to run reports later in this video. But for now, just know there's a handy dandy reports button right here that can bring you right to the reports page. So the button under that is My Apps. And if we go back to the dashboard, you can see all the apps up here are the My Apps here. They're the same buttons that go to the same pages. So you have accounting where you will be able to access your bank transactions, go through things like your receipts, reconcile your books, set up rules, set up the chart of accounts or access the chart of accounts, create recurring transactions, and so on. So that's accounting. Under expenses and bills, you're going to have everything related to the purchases you make in your business. So these are going to be all of your expense transactions, the vendors who you work with, a list of them. If you have a lot of 1099 contractors, this is very important to stay on top of and make sure the information is accurate. Again, we'll go over more of this in detail later on. Next, there's things like setting up bills, tracking bills, tracking mileage, contractors, 1099. So everything related to the money you spend in your business. The next app is Sales and Get Paid. This will have everything related to income and customers. So there's a dashboard page for this. You're going to see all of your open invoices. You'll be able to create new invoices or estimates. You'll be able to add products and services to QuickBooks so you can have those items on your invoices. And we'll go over how to set that up shortly. You'll also be able to list, you know what? I forgot. They separated customers from sales and get paid. So everything with customers is going to be related in the customer hub, but invoices, payment links, if you're going to receive payments through QuickBooks, you can use a link onto your own website to collect money there and have it send through QuickBooks in your own QuickBooks checking and QuickBooks payouts as well. This is going to show you all the money that transferred to you after getting paid through your links or your invoices. Really useful. Moving forward, we got the customer hub. Here you're going to have a list of all your customers, and again, they're going to show open invoices, open estimates, and more data in the dashboard regarding your customers. This here is going to be your customer list. When you add your customers, you'll see them all here. You'll be able to access information about them. This is something we'll definitely set up soon. This is the payroll app. And here, if you pay for payroll, this is where you're going to see all your employees' information regarding how QuickBooks pays your taxes, your payroll taxes on your behalf. So that's all going to be in here, and that will eventually be its own video discussing how to do payroll in QuickBooks. Next is team. Here you're going to have information about employees as well as contractors. And this is where you're going to be able to record information from their W-9s so that you could send 1099s at the end of the year. After that is sales tax. I personally live in Portland, Oregon. We don't have sales tax, so this is not something I see or use often. But and most of my clients are service-based businesses or e-commerce, so I don't see this often. But this is where you would set up sales tax if you're selling physical products in a state that has sales tax. You are by law kind of like an entity who's holding the sales tax owed to the state government. So you'll definitely want to be sure you're tracking sales tax correctly because they expect you to pay them, and there are severe penalties if you do not. So moving forward, you got more information about business tax. If you don't already know, Intuit is the parent company that also owns TurboTax. So a lot of tax information, your books, everything in QuickBooks, that does transfer seamlessly into TurboTax if you end up doing your own taxes or want to use TurboTax services. So they're kind of brother sister company in that way. So you'll get some information about taxes here, coming more from your books, not necessarily by using TurboTax. And they give you a calendar here for some deadlines. You can also see things like taxable profit, and under tax summary, pretty similar information. Reminders for dates and where you stand with income and deductions. After that, they have lending, which is basically some ads for options for credit, loans with partner companies. So we're going to skip that. Afterwards, we have marketing. I think they acquired MailChimp last year. So if you want to connect your marketing back to your QuickBooks, you can now access marketing within QuickBooks, something I haven't tried before, but maybe I'll check out in the future. Here we have time, and by the way, as you can see with these diamond icons on the side, these are additional services that will need to be paid for if you want to use them. I'll just quickly go over them so you know they're here. You got time, which if you're tracking employee time, contractor time, this is one way. Do so within QuickBooks. They also have more advanced inventory management services. So if you sell physical products and you want to keep everything integrated in QuickBooks, this may be a tool you could use. All right, so we looked over the left nav bar up until My Apps. We went through all these apps. Down here you'll see pinned. Basically, you could pin whichever apps you think you want to access the most quickly. You could pin them here. Bookmark button. You can always hit a bookmark button under any of these subcategories within the apps. For, I think it's customize. Yes, under customize, you can pin any additional apps that you want straight off the left nav bar. Accounting is the one I use the most, obviously, as an accountant. Yeah, with my clients who have employees, payroll is a good one to have nearby as well. All right, so we just went over